purpose, moving to changing carpets to a line floor, to a green sink. So moving forward, green sink here. And of course, the thing about it is, from layout, workshop really is accessing studio, and all the decorating level is taken here. The total carpet is 20 meters, 4 area. So take to the three. Before you do anything, first I'm going to do some board. So I've got some on each. Anyway, mixing some pasta and water, then some right outside the casing some 40, 40. And now we're back to pasta, half water, and now we make pasta tonight. Don't tell my like when some is this soup, I'll make my milk on, I'll be pasta. Second water. Show me what happens next. See what's this time. Right, this is my cream. Goes down. Now, go. We got some points in here. See that sunset. It's also awesome. All the way. Here we go. So, use this. Reason to take. Show. Do a full cycle on some basic way. Market. That was things. I was just that's a quick. Let's see what is. Let's get some more. Where's this? Oh, give me some stock. Well, hello. My name's Mark Teale. And what we're doing at the moment, we're setting up pottery, and I thought I'd just document this for anyone thinking about doing that sort of thing. Just a little bit of my history. About 30 years ago we had a craft shop and a small pottery attached to it. We created that one at the time as well. Video cameras were about then, but I never filmed it. At the moment we own a guest house which is at the back of this building. This room we're in now, it was a bit of a storeroom. It wasn't really used for anything, so what we thought we'd do is make use of this and create a pottery workshop as an added attraction for our guests, and also to enable local people to come and have a go at trying to make a pot. Anyway, so we're in the early stages. We're not open for business as it were yet, and I've almost finished setting it up. What we had before, I'll just move the camera to show you, was this room here, which the wife was using as a gallery stroke studio, painting studio sort of thing. We get local people coming and doing a bit of painting in there. But anyway, what we're concerned with is this pottery bit. Now, okay, one of the first things I had to do was, you need water. So I'll put a sink in. The other thing is power, because you need power. Well, this building already had a 3-phase supply, and I got the electrician in. He said it needed a bit of updating, so we've just recently, in fact just the other day, put in a new circuit breaker box, and we've got a toilet here, and well, it's a shower there, but I might turn that into a storage room. Now, okay, so water, power. The next thing you need, you need to think about your design. And one of the things this room had been used for in the past was owner's accommodation. And where the red curtains are there, this sort of demarks, as it were. This was their lounge and that was their bedroom. And I've left those up really to help me design the layout in some ways. I wanted this to be the wet area, and beyond the curtains, as it were, the dry decorating area, although we will do some decorating in that art studio through there. Okay, so this is the wet area, and so next thing I suppose you need to think about is preparation of the clay. Well, I don't intend to do too much clay preparation myself, although as it happens we've got some cliffs down the road, and they're formed from boulder clay, and there's two forms of boulder clay in the cliffs. There's a red common clay, and then beneath that a grey buff clay. And I've already grabbed some of that clay out of it and processed it, and created a bowl. I'm going to use this bowl to practice with a bit of some of the glaze and colouring materials. And I've also created a whole bunch of little tiles that, again, I'll experiment with glazes and that sort of thing and see how it fires. Okay, so clay preparation. Well, that's clay preparation from its raw state, and I might show you how I did that later on. The next thing I guess though is we're buying in lots of prepared clay, and we need somewhere to sort of prepare that. So what we have here is a workbench. I've made myself a nice big plaster mat here that we can do a bit of wedging and kneading on, and we've got another part of the bench here where we can again do wedging and kneading. And that's about all you need to start with. You just need then another work area to start making things. So what we have here is an area where I can perhaps roll out slabs, do some modelling and do some coil work, that sort of thing. It's expensive setting up pottery, and I've been buying a bit of stuff second hand. So we've got this, we call a banding wheel here. This is second hand, although I do have some, I bought a better brand new one. Basic tools, that sort of thing. I suppose really I've gone one step beyond, because the next thing you really seriously need to think about is storage and how you're going to store stuff. So you're making your clay things there, and then you may not finish everything. So you can buy damp storage cabinets. It costs a lot of money. Alternatively, you can buy yourself an old fridge. You know, this one's well, an expensive fridge, but not working, so I picked it up relatively cheaply, and having the airtight seals means it will keep stuff relatively dry. Not dry, damp. Okay, let's just move up to this end of the room, and I can show you a few other things. I don't really want to keep my clay in here because it's, well, the temperature will fluctuate quite dramatically. What we have though is, under the bench there, I've got loads of buckets and that, and you can see a bit of maybe luxury equipment there, a mixer for mixing glazes. Buckets though, a lot of those buckets at the moment, I've just made up 2 lots of glaze, some stoneware transparent and earthenware transparent. Under the, what at the moment is a slabbing bench, I've got some clay and a pug mill, because I intend to salvage and recycle as much clay as I possibly can. And then some coloured bins to help me put the clay in before it's recycled. But the other thing, like I said, you need to think about is storage, and essentially you need in my opinion, four basic bits of shelving. You need your damp cabinet of some description to keep, because you can't always finish a piece of work off and you don't want it to dry out. Then you have your work that is drying out and ready to go onto like the bisque firing or whatever. So we have the sort of drying shelves. So we've got those there. We then have shelving for bisqueware. Now, one of the things that we'll be doing is we'll be doing this sort of ceramic cafe thing, you know, where people come in and they basically choose a piece of bisque. For example, this thing, Girl the Angel, and they'll use these sort of things, underglazed paints, paint it, give it back to me, I'll glaze it and fire it for them. So that's a ceramic cafe thing. Okay, so this is all pre-bought in bisqueware. as you can see, that shelf's already pretty full of that stuff. So we need some more, let's say, bisque shelving. Okay, so that's that shelf, and then that's a fourth shelf. Then this final shelf here is going to be for the ware that has been bisque fired and decorated, ready to be glazed. So we've got, well, you know, things like this. You've got to be careful when you're handling these because it's, sometimes the paint can rub off. Okay, so this stuff is ready to go. It's not quite ready yet, but this will be the glazing shelf ready to go then for the final firing. Okay, so that's the 4 basic shelves. I guess we need a 5th shelf in a sense to store fired work. I've got some more shelves here, but at the moment they've just got some, well, the kiln furniture on and some hump moulds. Okay, so the final shelf, I guess, the finished stuff. We're going to have that in that art studio room there, so people can see it and pick it up and that sort of things when they come back to collect it, or for us to use. Okay, so shelving. That's the 3rd thing that you need to think about. Okay, so what do we have then? We have power, water, work area, shelving. Then you can't do anything really without set off on its own then. Yeah, you can't do anything much with pottery unless you have a kiln. Now I suppose it's possible for you to wander down to some school or whatever that might have a kiln and ask them to fire it for you. The chances are that's going to be very, very expensive for you to do per item. So you need a kiln. Now we were fortunate, like I say, we had 3-phase electricity in. Okay, but we bought a kiln. This is a fairly, it's a large one. We could get another section on there if and when we require it. That's all wired up. I've done the first firing, as it were, in there last night. It wasn't a firing as such, it was just heating the thing up just to let it settle in and acclimatise. What we also bought was a small test kiln for, again, second-hand thing, this one, for doing some test firings. Okay, so that's the basic layout, and I guess what we need to move on to now is what most people associate with pottery, potters and pottery workshops are wheels. Okay, so I've said it's the last thing on this little bit of a video. For some people it might be the first thing they jump in and buy, but you know, you can do a lot of things with clay without a wheel, so there's no real need to jump in and buy yourself a wheel straight off. Okay, we've got 2 wheels, so that 2 people can throw a pot at the same time. So when we have people in for our wobbly pot weekend, they can sit here and chat to each other, laugh at each other's mistakes. What I'm doing is I'm using this wheel here for basically trimming work, doing wheel plate rims and foot rims, that sort of thing. I'm using that for the wet work. Okay, so that's the basic setup. I think. Oh yes, I mentioned storage for basically your bits of pots and that sort of thing. But you also need lots of storage for other things. So we have. This is just me being organised. I've got some shelves there that I'm keeping tools on, books, literature, that sort of thing. I've got an area here I was going to use it as a sort of decorating area, but yeah, just some shelves. I mean, one of the things that we'll be trying, again, loads of second-hand stuff, but cake moulds, some stencils, all of this off off eBay. You know, stamps. Okay, so miscellaneous tools. In the far cupboard there, a grey cupboard, we have some raw materials, powdered glazes, colours, that sort of thing. Okay, so it's basically making the best use of your space, and in a pottery you do need a lot of space because there's a lot of different activities occurring. Okay.